Vegas Raiders. I'm not super shocked that they made the playoffs because I do think Derek Carr is a good quarterback. I do think Josh Jacobs is a good weapon. They have good weapons on the outside as well, and their defense is just stout.
Yeah.
And it makes the stops when they need to. I was a little surprised that they came away with this win, though. I got to be honest.
In Raiders fashion, I thought they would have fell apart, right?
Yeah, but Raiders fashion this year, man, has been hitting that vertical as time expires as the guy runs down the sideline. They've had a couple games like this where they've actually pulled them out this year. That's been the difference, and now they're sitting pretty in the playoffs. So let's transition maybe into the Raiders' first matchup of Wild Card Weekend.
Yeah.
And so we're going to go into our Wild Card preview. If you have any comments about the Chargers and Raiders game that ended in craziness,
madness,
ending with the Raiders and the Steelers making the playoffs, please let us know and please comment in.
Yeah. We can get on over to the Super Wild Card Weekend preview. Got games Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, so it's going to be an awesome weekend for football. I hope everybody buys all of the snacks that you need for the weekend and just don't go outside. Just sit your ass on your couch and absorb as much football as you humanly can. And that'll start with the Raiders-Bengals game. Derek Carr's first ever playoff game. How do you see this one panning out, Mike?
It's also Joe Burrow's first ever career playoff game.
Well,
I know.
Derek Carr's
I'm just
30.
Saying. I'm just saying. Both quarterbacks are making playoff debuts.
Yep.
Bengals by 14.
Bengals by 14. So statistically, these teams are actually, if you take a look at it, very similar. The way that they rush the passer with their edge rushers, Raiders, Bengals, very similar. Their quarterbacks, mobile, go get it, very forward, I'm going to get it done for my team, very similar. I do have the Bengals taking the win because I don't think that the Raiders have enough coverage corners to stop all of the weapons that Cincinnati has on offense.
I think this is going to be a game that boils down to the quarterback position.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be somewhat high scoring. I'm going to predict Cincinnati 38, Las Vegas 24.
I did not have a final score because I could not land on one for this one, but I know the Bengals are favored by 6. I will take them and the points.
Okay.
That's all I have on that one.
There you go.
And then what do we got next?
Well, first of all, let us know what you think about the Raiders and Bengals matchup.
Bingo.
Gabe, you want to let us know what you think?
I was formatting this thing, so I don't even know what we're talking about. So I was doing this, yeah.
Raiders-Bengals playoff matchup. Who you got?
Oh, Raiders. I like Raiders.
There you go.
Ooh.
I actually like the Raiders. I think they're underachieving and whatever. They'll click in. There's teams that all of a sudden wake up in the playoffs.
There is.
I think they can be one of those. Right. David Carr.
Fair enough.
For sure.
And then our second matchup is New England Patriots at Buffalo Bills at 8:15 p.m.
Third time they've played each other in 2 months.
Yep.
Very different outcomes both times.
Yep.
I coin flip on this game or what?
Nope.
No. Buffalo by a lot.
It's not 45-mile-an-hour winds anymore.
Yeah.
Buffalo by at least 10.
Okay. I had the final score 30-24 for the Bills. The Pats have allowed 28.5 points over their last 4 games on defense, very uncharacteristic of a Bill Belichick team. And with the way that the Bills definitely, that defense can be tough when it wants to be, and that offense has a lot of weapons. It's going to be one of those growth years for New England, I feel
I'll say 35-24. Congratulations to New England and Bill and Mac Jones in making the playoffs in his first year.
Yeah, for even getting to the playoffs. So that was a big achievement with the way that we thought that this roster was going to pan out. All the free agents that they brought in, still dealing with some of the COVID protocols, the change in Belichick's demeanor. Yeah, I would give congratulations to them as well, but I got the Bills moving on, and so do you.
Yep.
And then we get to the next matchups, which are going to be
on Tampa Bay's bye week.
Yeah, but I think before we actually get to that, there's a question here for you from Dylan.
Oh, I just answered it with what I said. It's Tampa Bay's bye week in the playoffs.
So Dylan Beek says, hey, Mike, ever heard of the Philadelphia Eagles? They're in the playoffs. Don't know if you got the news. Shh.
That's okay. A lot of teams would make the playoffs if they played in that dumpster fire division. So Tampa Bay gets a bye week. They get to beat up on a 7th grade team here at 1 o'clock on Sunday.
Yeah, this is you want to talk about lopsided matchups?
Yeah.
The Eagles are the definition of underdogs. in this game, and I don't even think it's going to be close. This will be a get-right game for Tampa Bay. The only thing that I find interesting is they are playing in Tampa, and the projected weather right now is 1.5 inches of rain during the game and up to 30-mile-an-hour winds. So the weather is going to be a little bit of a factor, but Tampa Bay gets Leonard Fournette back this game, and all the Eagles can do is run the football. Jalen Hurts couldn't throw a stone into the ocean if he was standing on the beach, and all they do is run the football. So, like, you really think you're going to be able to run on Sue, Vita Vea, Pierre-Paul, the rookie that they drafted, White? No, I just don't. They don't have the weapons on the edge either, even with Tampa Bay's depleted secondary.
Correct. The Eagles will be out of the playoffs by next Thursday.
Have fun, Philly. See ya.
Our next matchup is a little bit of a classic 1990s playoff matchup here.
Oh, nice callback.
The San Francisco 49ers at the Dallas Cowboys at 4:30 on Sunday.
Does this one interest you just because you know who both teams are? Like the legacies of the franchises?
This one interests me because of the difference in play styles.
Yeah.
San Francisco is going to try to throw the ball about 7 times. Dallas is going to try to throw the ball about 70. So
yeah.
I think it really depends on who is in the driver's seat of this game.
Okay.
One of the teams is going to start to control it and start to play their game, and the other team is going to have to adapt. If San Francisco is churning the ball on the ground and picking up first downs, I think it's going to be a long day for Dallas.
Yeah, time up. Do you think they're actually going to be able to run into that front, though? Micah Parsons is going to play a massive role in this game. We're going to get a real chance to see if he's the guy now that playoff football has rolled around. Randy Gregory being healthy.
Yeah, I think it falls. I think really if Kyle Shanahan has a good day play calling, then the Niners will win. If he doesn't,
full day.
Yep.
Not like 28 points in the first half and then nothing in the second half.
Little Super Bowl callback right there.
Absolutely. Well, he's done it twice.
Yep. Well, with the Falcons as well, right?
He did it with the Falcons, then he did it with the Niners.
Yep. But I mean, you got some playmakers on the ground.
Yeah.
And even Deebo Samuel, who had 7 rushing touchdowns this year as a receiver. So I think it's going to be a lot about like the misdirection game. And look over here, we're actually going over there. The Cowboys can score in a hurry, though.
Yeah, it's an explosive offense if Dak and those weapons can get on the same page. I think there are definitely matchups. Like I think we saw it in that Chargers-Raiders game where it was team versus team. I think the Niners versus the Cowboys matchup is very much going to be matchup-based. Deebo versus Diggs, who wins that? Dallas's offensive line versus San Francisco's defensive front. Who wins that matchup? On the other side of the ball, you got things Micah Parsons versus. It's going to be just can our aces beat their aces, and that whoever wins those matchups is going to wind up winning this football game. Final score prediction from you?
I'm going to say 24-27.
Okay.
Niners.
2014 Dallas.
All right. There we go. We both think it's going to be a close one.
Very much so. I don't think there's going to be as much scoring as people think. Dallas has had a tendency to be very Zeke Elliott heavy in the first round of playoff matchups.
Well, and they're Dallas, and it's the playoffs, so they're going to lose.
Yep. So, well, I don't agree with that. But let us know what you guys think on that throwback matchup to Dallas and the 49ers. And we will get back to you in the comments. Oh, we got one right here. Dylan Beeks. It's Dallas. When is the last time they won a playoff game? They could play the glass half crew, and I'll take the glass half by 35. I don't know about that. I don't have the legs I used to, and Mike hasn't thrown a football in a while.
You'd be surprised.
But then we can move on to the potential start of a Cinderella story, or is this just Tampa Bay, Philadelphia-esque in the Chiefs pretty much getting a bye week against the Steelers?
I think this is going to be a lot closer game than people think it's going to be.
Okay.
I do still have the Chiefs pulling it out, but I think it's going to be Mahomes, even with possibly like a 2-minute drive to win the game. So I'm going to say Kansas City Chiefs 31, Pittsburgh Steelers 28.
I think this is going to be a classic Kansas City first-round playoff matchup where you see something where it's like 17-10 Pittsburgh at half, and the game ends 37-17 Kansas City. That Kansas City defense coming out of half in the back half of this season has been lights out.
So you're telling me their second half
They're
is
second.
really good.
Yeah.
They're a second half team.
Any way you look at it, right?
All
Whether
right.
it's season or football game, they've been turning the ball over a lot. And as much as I would like to say Pittsburgh's got it in the bag, they would need to go back to being to be Blitzburgh, and Kansas City would need to display signs of the offensive line that they had weeks 1 through 4, which obviously has not been the case as they.
I don't necessarily think that they have to be Blitzburgh. I think if you play tight coverage and make Mahomes looks great most of the time because his receiver has his guy beat by 5 yards.
That's true. That's very true.
How many times have you seen Mahomes really beat a team throwing into tight windows?
Yeah.
To me, that's exactly what the Bucs did to him in the Super Bowl. They rushed 4. They were able to get home. So that's going to be the question. Is Pittsburgh able to get home? And possibly with TJ Watt, they might be. But if you can play decent to tight coverage in the back end and only bring 4, I think that's the way to beat Kansas City.
Yeah, but with the way that Kansas City can now run the ball with that improved offensive line and the way that Pittsburgh has showed that they just can't stop the run, I think that is what will eventually wear down and put them into good play action passing opportunities.
They stopped the run
double
enough
move
against
stuffs.
Baltimore.
True. But backup quarterback, 4th string running back.
Also, still even one of the top 10 rushing teams in the NFL, even
Which
with
is
that personnel.
insane. So, yeah, I got that one as a 37-17 final. Let us know what you guys think on the Steelers-Chiefs. And then we cap off the super wild card weekend on Monday with Cardinals-Rams. Another one where they've split the season matchup. But the Cardinals have fallen the fuck apart down the stretch. Do you think that Kyler will be able to travel well and get a second win in SoFi?
First, I want to respond to Dylan Beeks' comment here. So, in the AFC, where do you rank Cincy? I've got them at 2 behind Kansas City. They just have way too much offensive firepower. I'm going to say Cincinnati is tied at 2 for me with Tennessee.
Okay.
So let's not forget that Tennessee is the 1 seed here in the AFC, and
they're
they have
getting-
Derrick Henry coming back.
With
So
8
I'm going to
weeks
say
of rest.
I am going to say Chiefs number 1, but I'm going to say Titans / Cincinnati at number 2.
I don't know. I would have them at 4.
Behind who?
So I would go Kansas City, Tennessee, Buffalo, and then Cincinnati.
I just don't think Buffalo is consistent enough.
We'll see in the playoffs.
Buffalo can lose to anybody.
They can beat anybody.
True, but that reminds me a lot of our Minnesota Vikings. So I don't have a ton of faith in that team right now.
So there's your answer on that one.
All right, so Monday, January 17th to finish super wild card weekend.
Hey, I got them to do it. Check that out.
Cardinals at Rams. Cool little signing here for the LA Rams, bringing in
back Weddle.
37-year-old Eric Weddle, who's off a 2-year layoff. So, I mean, if 8 weeks of rest is good, 2 years of rest is even better.
He should be flying around looking like Ed Reed.
Yep. I don't think that's going to happen, though.
Me either. And I don't think they brought him in to be a 60 snaps a game guy. I think they brought him in to be a spot fill for things that he's.
Well, Taylor Rapp is on concussion protocol.
Yep.
And I cannot remember his name, their other safety that they had, who is done for the season now with an ankle injury. I think Weddle might get a lot of run here.
Yes, and I think he's going to be a spot player. I think McVay is smart enough to get him out there in situations where he is going to be bound to be a playmaker. That's what Weddle was when he was there, 2 years ago, was a playmaker. I think they will take a look at what he does best, what he is most comfortable with right now. They will put him in positions to win to hopefully turn the tide of the game. I don't think he's going to be somebody who's back there every single down.
I'm telling you right now, though, I don't care what kind of shape you're in. If you haven't stepped foot on an NFL field for 2 years, Kyler Murray is probably the last quarterback you'd want to go up against.
You're probably going to put him in a washing machine at some point.
Yeah, it's not going to be good. Do you want to make a pick?
Yeah. Los Angeles Rams 24, Arizona Cardinals 21, missing the field goal to tie it at the end of
28-24.
Oh, we got
Cards.
Oh, so we're offset on it.
So they don't miss the field goal.
They make the field goal.
No.
They score
the touchdown.
All right. Well, there's different ways to look at it. It's just tough. They're getting Cam Akers back this week. We all know what he's capable of. Arizona didn't get to see him during the season. He's apparently looks like he's in fantastic shape and ready to go, actually take on a lot of playoff load here. So
here's what it boils down to me. If you had to win one football game,
yeah,
to save your life. And you're basically picking a fantasy draft type scenario here for your football team.
You can't look at it in a vacuum like that, but I get what you're saying.
Do you pick Stafford or Kyler Murray?
What offense are we in? Who are my receivers? Who's my
Do you
head
pick
coach?
Stafford or Kyler Murray to save your life? I'm picking Kyler Murray.
Probably.
And so the life of these franchises is on the line here Monday night.
Probably, yeah.
I want to pick Kyler Murray. That's just the way I look at it.
And by the way, shout out to Jalen Ramsey, who has been ahead of every move that the Rams have made this season. From Weddle, he tweeted at 1 o'clock in the morning, he tweeted out ahead of the Odell Beckham trade. He must have an in the personnel department. And so from now on, if you want to know anything about the Rams, go follow Jalen Ramsey on Twitter because he'll know it before anybody else, probably to include the coaching staff.
Sure.
Awesome. Let us know what you guys think. Any of your hot takes are going to be for Super Wild Card Weekend. It's going to be an awesome weekend of football. How much of it are you going to be able to watch, Mike?
I unfortunately have to work on Saturday.
Oh, so you'll just be back you'll be back sharpening skates with your phone propped up?
Yep.
There we go.
That's a great plan.
Hey, I'm here to help, buddy. I don't want you to miss anything. We have a show to run.
Yep. So I'm sharpening skates all Saturday. In Blaine, come see me.
That's right. That's right.
So we'll transition over to our Wild Wolf Watch here. Final comment from Dylan Beeks, and then we'll kind of wrap up that segment. Najee Harris has a fabulous game, but Kansas City pulls it off, whether it's by 3 or 20. But I agree with y'all. I think it's a close game. And then Notoriety Sports, Rams 24, Cards 20. I've got the Rams in the Super Bowl.
Woohoo! I like it when people agree with me. It doesn't happen often.
No, it doesn't.
Who do you guys have in the Super Bowl?
Ooh. Put that playoff bracket back up, would you, Gabe? I want to make an educated pick here. I'm going to go. Green Bay, Kansas City.
Get out.
I'm sorry.
Get out.
You're going to have to go to Lambeau and play football in February.
And unless the Packers get lucky, they're not a good football team.
They're healthy. I'm sorry.
Rather be lucky than good.
Damn straight.
Well, you just discounted the greatest ever, so I'm going to say Tampa.
The Tampa Bay Gronkaneers?
Yeah, that one.
There you go.
And then in the AFC, I mean, how do you not pick the Chiefs?
Right.
So, I think it's going to be Bucs Chiefs again. Sorry, folks.
Yeah. Well.
I think all this craziness this entire season boiled down to a rematch in the Super Bowl.
Oh, fantastic. Great for ratings. By the way, did you see the stat that came out that the NFL had 91 of the top 100 most watched slots in television this year?
It doesn't surprise me. What else are you going to watch? MLS?
At all. No, I'm talking that's Yellowstone, that's Billions, that's any TV show ever.
Well, I think part of it too, I really do think that part of it is the NFL is on big networks that everybody has access to. You're saying Yellowstone. Well, you got to have Paramount Plus or whatever for that. You got to have Ted Lasso. You got to have Apple TV. I think it's because it's so segmented. This is not the topic of this podcast. I apologize.
91 of the top 100.
Not surprising to me. Not surprising at all.
I agree with Mike completely. It is because of how they do the metrics now.
Everything's so segmented.
On Netflix and all that stuff, so it doesn't play into it.
Whatever. I just think it's impressive.
You're just wrong again.
Just take the L.
So, Wild Wolf Watch, we're going to check in on our winter sports teams. So, in case you didn't know, we're here in
playing well,
Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Playing well.
So, do you want to do the Wild or Wolves first?
Oh, we'll take the Wild, so that way we don't screw Gabe up anymore.
All right. That's probably a good plan. So the Wild, after struggling, I think they had a 4-game losing streak, five-game losing streak, have rebounded and made us look like idiots.
You want to talk about times where you were wrong?
I was wrong. Too. And guess what? My old man let me hear it. I don't think I've heard him so mad at me in the past decade. You picked the Wild to lose both games. Well, they won. And then the Capitals game happens, and they win in a shootout, and he texts me at 11 o'clock at night, just Wild win, all caps.
I'm glad that we have passionate fans that are willing to get after you.
Yeah.
They get after me when I'm wrong, too. Don't worry about it.
Good.
But, yeah, impressive. Really cool moment for Boldy to score in Boston in his debut. in front of his family and get a win in that game. He has played exceptionally well to the point to where we have actually put Rem Pitlick on waivers, making it look like Boldy's actually going to stay for the long run here, which I think is the best thing.
I'm not that surprised by that either, though, to be honest.
Yeah, for the Wild. Pitlick played well at the beginning of the season, definitely filled a role, but I think the young guy is in Boldy is definitely the way to go moving forward. And with Carrillo, getting that nasty hit, not being able to finish that game, to be able to do it without their leader, was very impressed by the Wild to pull out that win.
Yep. And just for you folks at home, we're sitting at 44 points right now. The Predators are the top of the Central Division. They have 50, but they've also played 4 more games than us.
Yeah.
So if we were to win those 4 games that they have on us, we would be sitting at 52 points and leading the Central Division. So we're in a pretty good spot right now. Our last 10 were 5-4-1. Won the last 2. The last one against Washington in a shootout.
So we got some games coming up. Big stretch. We have some games on the schedule. None of them, as of right now, look like they're going to be postponed and or canceled. On the 14th, we will have the Ducks at home. We should have both Kirill and Eck back for this game. Heard that from Dean Evertson this morning on my drive-in with PA. And then we will get at the Avalanche on the 17th, at the Blackhawks on the 21st, and then get the Blackhawks in a little bit of a back-to-back at home before we face the Canucks coming to Minnesota. That would be the only one that I think would be in question because of all the Canadian protocols right now with COVID, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty much just the Canadian teams that are tough to play right now.
Yeah. So what do you got for a projected record for the Wild coming into this next stretch of games?
Well, it's pretty much just 2 games until we see you guys back here at Glass Half Sports on the 20th. So I'm going to say, I'm going to learn from my mistakes. I'm going to say we go 2-0.
I got 1-1.
1-1 or 1-0-1? Do we get a point from your loss?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a coin flip for me.
Who do you have us losing to? Colorado at Colorado?
Colorado at Colorado, and they have been putting the puck in. Their differential right now is pretty flipping good.
I believe that let me triple check this, they lead the NHL in goals scored. They have 143. The closest team is 142 with the Panthers, and then it's kind of a drop-off. So they put the puck in the net more than most.
And what is our weakness right now?
We allow some of the most goals out of like those top teams in the NHL as well. So
bingo. And goalie play hasn't, while we started the season pretty strong, has kind of tapered off back towards earth recently. So that one, point-wise, may be a bit of a coin flip, but I would definitely predict a loss there. I think a win against Anaheim, though, moving into that portion of the schedule before we see you guys again. And before we get out of here, congratulations to Merrill on his 3-year extension with the Minnesota Wild. Fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, it's whenever you can exceed expectations to this end, people are going to start getting extensions and really kind of keeping their jobs. So.
Yeah, the whole staff, and then now we're going to get some players that are getting extended. And the way that what I like to see too is some of these 3-year extensions look like they're going to be able to be actual like big minute players into the next 2 years where we know we're going to have a lot of dead cap. A lot of young guys coming up, showing promise. Rossi, Boldy, we got a defenseman that's possibly coming up. All of them that are going to play crucial roles in years where we're not going to have a lot of money to spend around Kirill. So happy to see this. I know that was kind of our worry heading into the season. Happy to see some of this pan out.
Yeah, so it's awesome. It's awesome to see while they're playing good hockey.
For sure. What do we got next? Are we Pups or are we Wolves this week, Mikey?
Oh, dude, we were so close to being the Wolves this week. The Wolves were on a 4-game win streak. Unfortunately, they had a game to go over 500.
Against the Zionless Pelicans, and you lose. Shake a baby sometimes with this team. So frustrated. Not yours.
Don't do that. Don't shake babies.
But so frustrated. Like, how do you go up against some of these teams and play so well? And
well, if you ask Kat, it's because the players were too busy reading the media hype, and it's like that's just such a dumb excuse. I swear they just run out of things to say at times.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Thunder for what I thought was like actually a pretty sick court and jersey situation.
Yeah. That team is kind of turning into like the Oregon Ducks of pro basketball.
Well, that and they have like 80 picks in the next 5 years. So that team's going to be good here.
Well, when every year you trade away a veteran overpriced point guard,
right,
you're going to get a lot of that.
Yep.
So
the Wolves, back to the Wolves, they are sitting at 20-21. They're 5-5 in their last 10. They're very much a middling team. However, when you look back at last season, finishing the season 19-43, we've already beaten that win total.
Woo!
We're sitting at the 9 seed right now in the West. However, we're only
a couple games out of
1 game back of basically the 5 seed.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of a jumbled mess here. We just got to stay on course and continue to win games. And yeah, I'm very encouraged by what I'm seeing out of this Minnesota Timberwolves team. I think I'm going to win the bet.
Yeah, interesting stat that I saw from, I want to say it was Dana Moore. When Russ, Pat Bev, Ant, Vandy, and Kat are all on the floor together, which obviously has not been a lot this year with a lot of the COVID protocols that we have dealt with, this team has the highest differential in the league at plus 50 points per 100 possessions, which makes them the best starting lineup in the NBA when they're all on the court together. So consistently stay on the floor together, continue to keep that pace. Vandy is very obviously rounding into his own as a key part of this main five. D'Lo has taken a step back and done so very gracefully on a lot of the offensive possessions while ratcheting up his ability to play good defense against other teams, top scorers or the one or two on the other side of the ball. We got some tough matchups coming up. We're going to be playing against the Grizzlies, who are red hot, the Warriors, who just got Clay back, the Knicks, and then the Hawks. So I think it's more 500 basketball for the Wolves, but because Denver plays LA in a game in that same stretch, I think we do have the opportunity to move ahead or up in the standings because the Lakers will take a loss against Denver, which is both a game that will be important in the Western Conference.
So I think this 4-game stretch is really going to show who we really are.
Yep.
We've been able to kind of beat really good teams. We've been able to lose to bad teams.
Right.
We have 4, in my opinion, basically playoff teams upcoming. Grizzlies tonight, that's a huge game.
I'm starting to see Ja Morant, Derrick Rose comparisons.
I mean, Ja Morant is, in my opinion, probably the MVP right now.
The guy just playing out of his. I remember watching him at Marquette and going, "Oh, that guy's going to make waves in the NBA," and has exceeded those expectations. Yeah,
insane.
He's got more bounce than Zion.
Yeah, he's got more bounce than Flubber.
That's very true.
All right, so we got the Grizzlies tonight. I think that's somewhat. That's a huge game to me. If the Wolves can pull that out, go back to 500. You got the Warriors at home at least.
No.
Right?
On the road. Whoa, where's the Golden State game on here? We definitely have them. Will the Wolves enter the...
Is it on the 16th that's cut off?
Yeah, potentially. It is.
And I believe it is at home.
Yeah, I believe it is at home.
I could see us beating the Knicks. I could see us beating the Hawks.
They're starting to bounce pieces. That is a weird franchise for them to be as far along in the playoff race as they were last year, and then to take this large of a step back coming into this season should be concerning.
Right. But honestly, I could see us rattling off all 4. I could see us losing all 4.
Yeah, no.
So
beating the Knicks for sure, beating Atlanta for sure. A loss to Golden State guaranteed.
Knicks are pretty good, dude.
Yeah, but the players are familiar with how Tibbs likes to set things up.
Knicks are sitting at 21-21. So, I mean, I could see all 4 games going basically either way. I'm going to guess 3-1. The games that I will guess is a win. As odd as it is, I'm going to say we win the 3 road games and lose the home one.
Wow, that's weird. I'm going to give it the old Richard Nixon. 2-2.
All right.
Let us know what you guys think about the Minnesota Wild and the Minnesota Timber Puppies as they head into their next week.
Be the Wolves by next Thursday.
Yeah, please. Mike really doesn't want to have to shave his beard or whatever it was. that we told him he was going to have to. Oh, Andrew Luckett. That's right. How about him showing back up on television, by the way?
Yeah, he looked like an old prospector coming to buy the whole town.
That guy has been the definition of a recluse since retirement.
Actually, hey, Gabe, I know it's really late notice, and I apologize to do this.
Yeah, no problem.
Could we get a picture of Andrew Luck on the sideline?
Already working on it.
He looks like the Thornberry guy.
So I know the bet was
show.
that if the Wolves, is it make the playoffs or winning record?
It was make the playoffs.
So if the Wolves don't make the playoffs, I have to Andrew Luck it.
Yeah.
Could I do that look instead?
What game was it? Sorry, guys.
Just look up Andrew Luck at the national championship.
National, okay.
Yeah.
Him and RG3 standing next to each other. Remember when they came into the league?
Yeah, do you feel really old? Because they came into the league 2012.
I mean, that was before I graduated high school, so yeah, kind of.
Oh, that's right. I had graduated high school at that point.
It's okay, old man. I don't want to hit you too hard. Your bones might break.
It's okay, young whippersnapper.
Whippersnapper?
Whippersnapper.
Jesus.
Get off my lawn.
But those two looked at each other like two high school best friends that hadn't seen each other in 10 years.
Yeah.
When they were standing at the sidelines. It was a very interesting thing to see. How about, did you see the guy that, while we wait for this to pull up, the guy that cashed in the $1.2 million?
I did, actually. Yeah, I did see that.
Betting on Georgia. How about the stones to make that bet and then
Well,
have it
I mean,
cash in?
if you also have $30,000 laying around to make a bet, you're probably not sitting too bad to start with.
No.
Let's be honest. So, I mean,
love
that's what I noticed. I was like, oh, wager $30,000. Look at this. He looks like an old oil prospector coming into your western town. I bought the whole town. I'm going to mine it.
That guy looks like he hasn't seen another person since he retired from football.
Oh, he's a recluse.
He looks like thinned out, too. I
Very
mean, like, severely.
Very much. Well, he's not. He had to put all that weight on because people were beating the shit out of him in the NFL.
And I'm saying that's looking like an illness type thin.
No, I don't think so.
No, I
Really?
don't think so. No, that's regular person.
Guess
thing.
I have higher standards than you guys, but yeah.
Could you kick his ass now, Gabe? That's the question.
I mean, you know he's going
we'd
to
have
come
a
at you like
scrap.
this, though.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like,
Hey,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
wanna fight me?
I don't know. I think I'd leg sweep him, and yeah, I'd probably win.
I mean,
Andrew Luck comes out like this. Gabe will leg sweep him. Game over.
Roundhouse leg sweep.
roundhouse leg. Can you get down to do a roundhouse leg sweep?
I will when I need
It'll
to.
be his final move. He just needs to do it once.
Gabe's gonna blow out an ACL, but he'll win the fight.
Yep.
I love
When
it.
it's life and death against Andrew Luck, yes.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. So let us know. Andrew Luck just interesting? Very interesting. How are we gonna wrap the show up, Mike? I'm excited for this next segment.
We have a segment called Hot Spotting for Coaches.
That's right.
Game where we alternate picking the best and worst head coach openings in the NFL heading into the offseason. Flip for who goes first.
We're not gonna flip.
Oh, but it says we have to.
It doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
So I think the best thing to do
It's like
is
whose line, where the rules don't matter.
That's right. No, the points don't. The points
I'm
don't
getting
matter. Whose line? We have all of the coaching openings. Gabe will put them up here in a second. Me and Mike are just going to alternate, pretty much going back and forth on what we think the top job will be. I will take the bottom job, and then I will go back to the top, and then you will take a top and then a bottom job, and we will just kind of go through what we think is going to be the most valuable spots for head coaches to be looking for positions as we head into next season. There we go. So the coaching vacancies are as follows. Vikings, Giants, Raiders, interim head coach as of right now, Bears, Jaguars. I did throw the Seahawks on here because all signs are pointing towards some sort of divorce, either Russ out or Pete Carroll out in Seattle. I would agree with you. The Broncos and the Dolphins. The only ones with GM vacancies attached to them would be the Vikings, Giants, the Bears, and that's it. Those would be the GM opening ones, right?
I believe so.
Awesome. So I think we can start with the most valuable job because I think me and you agree on this one.
So to me, the most intriguing, attractive job as a head coach would be the Minnesota Vikings.
All of the talent that we have in place, the ability.
It's a roster that is a playoff roster. I think that's the reason that coach got fired. It's the most intriguing out there. You can take over this team and go to the playoffs this year.
You could take over this team and go and make a deep playoff run this upcoming year. Matt Burke even tweeted out, and I know we've been hearing a couple of other former Vikings speak out on the topic since Mike Zimmer has left. They're one offensive lineman and a revamped defense away from being a top 3 team in the NFL.
Right.
You don't know if Aaron Rodgers is returning after this year. Obviously, the Bears are going to be in the middle of a reset now that they moved on from Nagy. Fields is going to have to take in another offensive head coach. We all know how that plays out for Ohio State quarterbacks. Jared Goff.
Unless it's Ryan Day, but yeah.
Right. So it's just it's going to be it's going to be a little bit easier of a path inside your own division. We finished third in our division this year.
Nope, second.
Second. Oh, you're going to get a second place schedule, so you're going to have a little bit softer schedule than most. You're not going to have to play all of the top teams across all the other divisions. So, yeah, I think the top job would be the Minnesota Vikings job. Now, Mike, what would be your least valuable job in the NFL that is available?
So I want to say, I think if we would have lost to the Bears, we would have finished third.
Yes, we would have.
So we'd have had an easier schedule next year on top.
And the Bears would have had a tougher schedule. Exactly.
All right, my least attractive job. I'm probably going to go with Seahawks, to be honest, because I think you're going to have basically nothing there. Russ is going to leave. Your cupboards are bare. You have DK Metcalf. And that's about it.
It's so tough. They've strapped themselves in the salary cap. They don't have any first-round draft picks left after paying Jamal Adams, who has been injury-prone and really plays more like a linebacker than he does a safety. You'd be taking in a brand-new head coach. You have a frustrated quarterback already. It's just an absolute mess in Seattle. The fact that they let this thing fall apart the way that they did should be something that people should look at from a GM and ownership perspective and go, okay, there's a lot of explaining to do here. Because this team was set up, if they would have done it the right way, to be from 2008 or when was it?
Here's the thing. That team was set up to be a dynasty.
Yeah.
And basically came from running the ball on the 1 yard line short. And then it all collapsed.
Then it all fell apart.
And this is the end of the collapse. So who's your worst spot?
I'll agree with you. I have no.
All right, you got to do some of your own thinking here a little bit. So my next best spot is going to be the Miami Dolphins.
Okay.
I think it's a young, talented roster that basically could have, again, made the playoffs this year. You come in, you have some decent draft picks that you can build that team into your own as well. Maybe a year or two, and you should be a good AFC team that's contending for playoff spots.
I would agree with that somewhat. I actually think, and because of the news that we've heard coming out of it, now that we know that Joe Judge has left, I actually think the second best spot is going to be in New York. Massive media market, the ability to re-sign Daniel Jones. They're not strapped in the cap. You look at all the weapons that they have on offense and a defense that looked like it was actually going to come around towards the end of the year last year. You are an offensive line away from, in a bad division, from being able to make a little bit of a run at this. And there have already been word that has come out that for the first time in I think like 30 plus years, the Giants are going to go ahead and get a GM outside of the Mara family, the New York faithful family. They're going to go get somebody that is just strictly a football purist and try to correct this thing because of all of the maneuverability that will then give them that they haven't had in a long time. I could see New York being a spot that would be very attractive to a head coach coming up, especially because you're not paying a quarterback a lot of money right now.
You feeling okay?
Yes. I know. I'm stepping out on a limb there, but it's a bad
They
division.
haven't had a winning record in 5 years.
They're due.
All right, if that's your argument.
You know what the Giants are? Dogs.
So I just said best. So my worst job. So I've done Vikings, Seahawks, and Dolphins thus far. Another worst job, in my opinion, is going to be the New York Giants. Because you're wrong.
Au contraire, mon frere.
You don't have a quarterback. You don't have an offensive line, even though you have a good running back. You basically don't have receiver weapons.
Okay.
Your defense
don't have receiver weapons. Kadarius Toney, Evan Ingram, Galloway.
Because you know their names does not make
They're
them
good weapons.
Okay. So you trade the Giants' weapons for the Vikings' weapons?
No.
Okay, that's what I thought. All right, so the Giants suck, and it's gonna take years. I mean, they literally haven't had a winning record at any point during the regular season in 5 years. They haven't been 2-1 in 5 years. They're awful. And you have an up and coming Washington team that I think is literally trending up. You have an Eagles team that's trending up with a young quarterback, made the playoffs this year. Thank you, Dylan. And then the Cowboys. Like, to think that you can just take over the Giants next year and climb out of the cellar is asinine. I apologize, but no.
And I don't think it's going to happen in 1 year, but I think it's something to where over multiple years, it's something. And it's, like I said, the unfortunate truth, and I don't like that I picked New York at 2, but there were rumblings last season. If you put Russell Wilson on the Giants with the roster that they currently have, you give them a new head coach and a new GM, all of them aligned.
And they go 7-9.
I don't know about that.
All right. Well, the Giants might as well grab a pillow because they're sleeping in the cellar for another 5 years.
All right. My next worst job, what are we at? 7 here, would be the Chicago Bears. This franchise has been in disarray for such a long time. The unfortunate truth is they didn't get it right soon enough on offense to help with the elite defense that they had built. Khalil Mack aging out. Hicks is going to be a free agent at the end of this year. Eddie Jackson is going to start demanding more money. He's also aging a little bit.
I don't think Eddie Jackson had an interception this year.
I don't think so either. Robert Quinn is now going to be looking for some money. You know what I mean? After the season that he's had, Justin Fields isn't by any means, in my opinion, ready to be a playoff caliber quarterback. That offensive line has issues other than the slender man wide receiving core that they have outside of Allen Robinson, who is also getting older. This team needs a full retool. Like, I really do think that they are a backseat team at this point. And with them also needing to bring in a GM, there's a lot of alignment pieces that are going to need to be made there. My worst team there would be the Chicago Bears.
So I'm on best team now again?
Yep.
To be honest, I'm not even going to include the Raiders in the segment because I truly think that, how do you pronounce his name again?
Rich Bisaccia.
I think Rich Bisaccia is going to keep that job.
Okay.
So my best option would probably be the Jaguars.
Wow. Over Denver, huh?
Over Denver.
Okay. Explain.
I think that there's more upside, a higher potential in Jacksonville. You still, in my opinion, have one of the best quarterback talents there's been.
Yeah.
Since probably Andrew Luck.
Yep.
You have a very talented running back that will be coming back. You have draft capital. Mm-hmm. I think that that's a great scenario to be in as a head coach. This would be the scenario where I'd like to see that Gruden deal mirrored.
Like a 10-year deal.
Like a 10-year, we're going to lock you in. Here's the keys.
I would be on the phone with Dabo yesterday.
Yep.
You know that Trevor Lawrence plays well in that system. You know that he's got his thumb on the pulse of what the college ranks have been, so I'll agree with you a little bit there. I don't think it's quite as inviting because of the Shad Khan thing. My next best team was actually going to be the Denver Broncos. The bones of that team are solid right now. If you drop a good quarterback in on that squad, Jerry Jeudy, the weapons that they have on offense, they have a two-headed monster right now at running back that you could kind of lean on even if you were to go get a young guy.
I'm worried about the defense in Denver over the long haul because I think maybe a year or two you have a good defense.
But you could begin to retool that now with how good the offense is, right?
Sure.
Like you take a look at that, you could do something like what the Panthers did and go into this year's draft. You get a quarterback in free agency, and then you just dump all of your draft collateral into the defensive side of the ball, and you can then keep pace with Kansas City, Vegas, and the Chargers. So I think that job, plus I know me and you probably have a little bit more of an inside track on this than most. The guys that are there in the front office at GM for Denver are Minnesota affiliates, and they helped develop the roster that we have. So I do have faith in their ability to do the same down in Denver.
See, and actually I think Dabo Swinney would work in Jacksonville, but that is actually the reason why I don't see that happening is the question from Notoriety Sports Network, which I believe is Dylan Beeks. Do you think the Jags would have the appetite to get another college coach?
I think he would be the only exception to the rule.
I would agree with that. They're not going to go hire Brian Kelly.
Lane Kiffin.
Right.
Harbaugh.
Not going to happen.
No. Dabo, though. Yeah, probably.
Sure. I agree with that.
Okay. Next worst team, Mikey.
Mine would be the Broncos, and then I'm done.
No way. We didn't even get to the Dolphins.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, they'd be a best team for me.
Okay.
That'd be a good situation, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know with the quarterback thing.
I'm not necessarily sold on Tua, but he's not going to hurt you either.
But they're also cap pressed.
but they're also extremely talented and young. So like you I think the Dolphins is a good situation, but it's a tight window.
You'd have to get it right this next year.
You would have to basically come in and win in 2022. Otherwise, you're probably... I mean, here's the thing. Brian Flores went 9-8. He had a winning record and got fired.
Yeah, but that's another reason why I think that this would be an extremely challenging job to take over and one that some people will shy away from. That GM and that owner, that GM has been there for, 23 years? And you look at some of the decisions that they've made, and you're going, what the fuck? The way that they trade, the way that they've given players away, who they've drafted over specific players. I think whatever head coach that walks in there, unless it is a legitimate disciple of Chris Grier, and I think Ross or something is the owner, it's just not going to be a good situation in Miami, in my opinion.
Yeah, so Dylan Beek's comment, as bad as Mike hates the thought, Dougie P. in Minnesota would be amazing. He won a Super Bowl with extremely minimal talent. What he could do with Minnie's talent actually scares me. Dylan, to be honest with you, I hated it more on Monday than I did today.
Mike's coming around.
It's starting to warm up to me.
As long as he doesn't bring D-Philip fuck with him, we're okay.
I think the biggest thing, Dylan, I got to be honest with you, the worst part about Doug Peterson is he put on that ugly Philadelphia green. But I think I can get by it if he puts on the purple and gold.
I mean, at least he knows how to win championships in Minnesota. That's the honest to God truth. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on...
So I think that there are definitely some situations around the NFL that are definitely more attractive than others, and there are some that they're going to be scraping the bottom of the barrel for talent because they do not have a good situation for a head coach to walk into.
Yeah.
But some guys, especially at this level, like the challenge as well. So,
Mike, has your phone rang at all for any of these head coaching positions? We have to know. If I'm going to lose you, I need at least a month-long notice.
No comment.
Oh. I'm going to lose my head coach.
I'm getting, I should say now that I'm getting brought in to work for the scouting combines to fight pretensive quarterbacks.
Oh, okay.
It's basically just a box. So the quarterback will have his, stat line and everything, and then at the very end there's a box. Did you defeat Gabe Noah in a fight? And so they'll either just check it or leave it blank.
We're going to do a segment when we do draft analysis for quarterbacks this year where we're just going to put pictures up of quarterbacks in their street clothes and ask Gabe if he thinks he could beat them up.
So, I mean...
I try to be honest.
There's been one story that I saw that has Lane Kiffin coming to Minnesota.
And then us drafting Matt Corral. Lane Kiffin maybe as an offensive coordinator, not as a head coach.
Sure. He just strikes me as, super immature. He's going to get caught doing Urban Meyer things.
It's funny because he's been on the Pat McAfee show a couple of times, and that has been addressed because he was obviously so young when he was in Oakland with the Raiders, when he got his first opportunity. And he's actually even come out and admitted that there was a lot of it that he didn't understand. But have you heard anything of the sort with him being at a college program? In my opinion, those coaches can get away with a whole hell of a lot more than you can in the NFL, right? You're under a whole lot more scrutiny at this level or at that level than you are at this level because you control the entire program. And nothing of the sort has come up on him.
I mean, he just looks like a kid who's getting chewed out by his mom.
That's fine. Can he win football games?
I don't know. I really don't.
So, all right. I think that's all we got for the show.
Who is your outside the box Vikings coach wish?
Outside the box?
Outside the box.
Sort of like the Lane Kiffin, or I read a Harbaugh thing. Could they entice him from Michigan or whatever, which I thought seemed ridiculous, but apparently
it's not as ridiculous.
Right.
I've heard that quite a bit.
How would you feel about that, about Harbaugh specifically? I mean, in a way, I feel like that's going back to a Zimmer type.
Exactly. Right? The my way or the highway. You better fit my scheme or my culture or hit the road type guy. So I would shy away from Harbaugh talk. There's an owner or a GM that's out there that has a lot of Harbaugh ties, and I think it's Miami. But my outside the box pick.
Yeah, no one you can think of that like who's out there.
Give me a second, Mike. You got any ideas on?
I want Brian Billick back.
Mike Tice.
That a baby.
Bring in Tice, man. Bring back the love boat. Bring back the throwing the ball all over the yard. He's a heck of a player's coach.
Okay.
Are you being serious?
No.
Okay.
That's just my outside the box Vikings coach with.
I knew that you would think that for the love boat part, but yeah.
I mean, he is a hell of a player's coach, to be honest.
Jimmy Johnson.
Mariucci.
Jimmy Johnson, the guy who fleeced the Vikings in the 90s for the Herschel Walker trade.
He owes us.
He would just come here and like make that trade again.
No.
Like, hey, we'll give you 7 draft picks for Max Crosby.
You want to stick it to Jerry Jones? Come play in Minnesota or come coach in Minnesota. He was a huge proponent of you could argue that he was the one that started the player empowerment thing with the way that he treated Michael Irving and Emmitt Smith. You want to go in a direction where he's never necessarily.
I mean,
been
he got that from being at Miami.
With all that top talent,
with all that personality too.
You know, he knows how to evaluate talent, develop a locker room, be a player's coach. There's my outside the box wish. Put the call in.
Dylan says, I really like Caldwell with a talented team like Minnie, but his awful playoff history is the only thing that scares me. Yeah, I mean, he would fit right in.
We don't want fit in.
We want an offensive. In my opinion, we want an offensive-minded head coach in Minnie.
Yeah.
We've had defensive coaches going back to. I mean, we had Childress, we had Leslie Frazier.
Brian Billick.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate to see Brian Billick. Yeah.
I think, it's all up in the air. I think the Vikings should leave.
Bring Bud Grant back. What are we doing?
Jesus. Last time he coached a game was outdoors in Minnesota, and it wasn't at our college stadium.
I know.
No.
What about Dabo? Dabo, Sweeney, Dabo, whatever you say.
Dabo Sweeney would be something I would be very interested here in Minnesota as well. The ability to look at talent coming up out of college in the next couple of years. You can get some. You saw it with Pete Carroll. When Pete Carroll came in out of USC,
right?
The first few years that he drafted, they were able to find some sleepers in the draft that turned into some absolute monsters. And you want to talk about a way to support a $45 million cap hit quarterback like Kirk Cousins or find his successor, go get you a coach that has recruited some of the best talent in college football over the last 8 years. And if you really wanted to, you go get Dabo Sweeney. There's a big case coming up for Deshaun Watson here right after the Super Bowl. There are still, from what I understand, 14 teams that are willing and interested in trading for him if he gets cleared of a lot of this. Guess who coached Deshaun Watson? Dabo Sweeney at Clemson. So there's a link there as well.
Sexy choice.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Anything else? Any parting shots, Michael? For the fans?
I know it would be fun to see Mike Tice back on the sideline.
It would. I agree. I signed up his wife at Experience Fitness for a gym membership. You know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah. She handed over her ID, and I was like, this says Tice. I was like Mike Tice? She goes, shh. I was like, all right, cool.
Sick.
Interesting.
All right, so Nick's just dropping names over here. Thank you. So if you are a sports fan with sports friends, make sure to give us a like and subscribe. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Spotify, and Patreon, maybe in 2025.
It is up. I'm just not pubbing it because it's not finished.
Hey, look at that. If you didn't catch us live, you can catch us on MCN 6, Saturdays at 2 and Fridays at 7. As always,
take care. Tune in next week. We will be going over what Chael Sonnen is touting as potentially the biggest heavyweight matchup in UFC history with the Ciryl Gane Francis Ngannou card for the UFC. We will be playing to coach or not to coach with the Minnesota Vikings head coaching search, as well as checking in with our winter sports teams and reacting to everything that happened in Super Wild Card Weekend as we head deeper into the playoffs. Take care. Stay safe. Stay warm.